Welcome to yet another episode of Black and White TV.
Woohoo!
We are your hostesses. I'm Jamila Millette.
And I'm Sean Cooper.
Yes, and so on Black and White TV, we talk about all kinds of kinds. We talk about issues that tend to divide us in our neighborhood, our country, our world.
Maybe even our own homes.
Yeah, maybe. Or internally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All kinds of divisions. So, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, like, once you finish watching it, share, and also comment.
Absolutely.
We're here for the
yeah, we love to hear people's feedbacks.
Yeah.
I actually had coffee with somebody yesterday, and they were saying that they were asking about the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, okay.
When we were talking about TV shows.
Yeah, okay.
He's like, did you grow up watching Dukes of Hazzard? I was like, I did.
Oh.
And so we were talking about kind of the tension around the Confederate flag and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So we love the comments. Please post
So that was like a teaser to go watch that episode. I don't know which episode that is.
One of the past.
Something about TV shows.
Yeah.
That's what it is. About TV shows. Yeah, so we are in a series right now. We're walking you through our various Uniter principles. And so we do workshops with high school students. And so this is kind of like your podcast version-ish of what we would talk about, but not in the class.
Yeah. Shout out to Seminole High School 9th grade center.
Yes, that's where we are currently doing workshops.
We were there, was that
yesterday?
Yesterday?
What happened to you yesterday?
So, amazing teacher, Miss Di out there, and like, how many were in their class? Like 30 or 40?
30.
It was amazing.
Yeah, let Sean tell. It'll be 50.
30, 40, rounded up to
100.
100. It was a full stadium.
Young ladies, 30 young ladies.
They
were amazing.
Yeah,
Let me say it. They were amazing.
So, all right, so here we are. We're diving into...
Which principle is this one?
Okay, so this is principle number 5.
Okay.
And it's, I will ask challenging questions.
I think it's principle number 4.
Well, it says number 5 on here. Okay, no, I think you're right. Okay, let's review real quick.
Is it episode 5, principle 4? I got you.
That's what it is. So the first one was, I will humanize others.
Uh-huh.
So we talked about what does it mean to humanize, dehumanize,
right.
demonize.
Yeah, we played that weird game.
Played the weird game.
Yeah.
I will listen intensely.
Yes.
Third one was, I will lean into opposing viewpoints.
Yes.
And you're right, today is the 4th. I will ask challenging questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Challenging questions.
So let's talk about some questions.
Okay.
So Jay and I were talking about this the other day, and in our household, so we have, my wife and I, we have a 12-year-old son who's about to turn 13 soon.
And today, your wife is our producer.
Hi, Ad. And then we have a 19-year-old daughter, Emerson.
Only 19, but her mind is older.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The 12-year-old boy, one of his favorite things to play, usually when we're in the car just riding around.
Oh, I was like soccer.
Yeah, not soccer. Oh. Is the game Would You Rather.
He likes to play this game.
Oh, he loves it.
Like, he makes up his own questions.
He does both. He will find some, and then he'll make up some. And they're usually outrageous, most often gross.
Right. You said he's a what? 12-year-old boy?
12-year-old, oh yeah.
Okay.
They're extremely funny.
Okay.
But he also loves to pick ones where it's like, I mean, I guess that's the point of Would You Rather. It's you're picking 2 questions that both options have really bad results.
Right.
To them.
There are ones where it's like really good and they're both really good. And it's like which superpower do you want? Like that kind of stuff.
Okay, so let's ask each other some Would You Rather. Since we're talking about I will ask challenging questions.
Yes. Would You Rather tends to be challenging questions.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
So also, you have an opportunity to answer these questions as well in the comment section of this here platform, whatever platform you've platformed on. Like if you're YouTubing or iTuning or Spotifying. Yes.
Whatever eyeing you're doing.
Whatever eyeing. Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is a cute one.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather, and you can answer this too, Addie, live by Hakuna Matata or YOLO? Remember, Hakuna Matata, it means no worries for the rest of your days.
Okay, repeat. Right. You're using different languages.
And acronym.
Okay, go back. Would I rather
Live by. This is how you live.
Okay,
right?
live by.
Your whole life. You're like Hakuna Matata means no worries. Or YOLO, you only live once. Ooh. Which one? Right? That's a fun one, right?
It is a fun one.
Yeah, but it's kind of like...
Okay.
Sean is rocking for those who are not watching.
I love both of them.
Yeah.
My first inclination is the YOLO.
Oh, okay.
But the pause on it is you only live once can mean like you do something crazy and you're just dead.
Right.
So it's like,
you're dead.
Like, hey, you only live once. Let's see if I can jump off this cliff and make it to the other side. So I think I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna go with Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
I just feel like you'd be more at peace and chill.
Okay.
What would you do?
I would Hakuna Matata.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I actually don't even use YOLO. I say YOLT. I say you only live twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way there's a redo.
There's a redo.
All right, here's one for you. You ready?
I'm ready. Wait, hold on. Addie, did you find yours?
I would say I am a Hakuna Matata.
You are.
To a fault.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Addie, there's no worries in Addie's world.
So I would have to pick because I would want to choose something else.
Oh, you would pick YOLO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I kind of live in that realm
You
anyway.
do.
Okay.
It's good.
Beautiful.
It's good. Okay, Jay, this is a good one because you are a fashion person.
Okay.
Would you rather be chronically underdressed or overdressed?
Overdressed all day. Let me walk into this t-shirt and jeans situation with a ball gown on.
Yeah. And we know why. Should we state the obvious? Should we?
Yes, go
You can
ahead.
say the thing about you though, babe. You
Yeah.
would be chronically overdressed.
Addie, listen, you're not supposed to
Thank you, Addie.
only say things when we're talking about Jay. It's because Jay wants to be the center of attention.
No,
So she's gonna go overdressed.
no.
Oh yeah, you are.
No, I really that's my motto though. Like, I'd rather be overdressed than underdressed. That's just how I roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you got another one?
Okay, yeah, I got one. Okay, let me see. Okay, I want to do two. Okay, but let me just do this one. Okay, would you rather be the richest person in the world or the smartest person in the world? I know, right?
I feel like I've answered this one before, and I feel like if you're the smartest, you would probably be pretty rich too. No, it has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
If it has to be one or the other, I would say I'd rather be the richest, and then I can be kind of semi-smart.
You can't add that.
Smart people.
I mean,
You
I'll
don't
be
get to
average.
add your own
I'll be
caveats.
rich and average.
Rich and average. You'd be rich and stupid or smart.
What would you pick?
Riches.
Yeah.
I don't care about being the smartest person.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'll pay the smartest person to do what I need to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather spend a week in the forest? Which I love this question because I know that we talked about camping before and that's not your thing.
Yeah.
So, but listen to the alternative. Would you rather spend a week in the forest or a night in a real haunted house?
That is
Addie's like,
terrible.
no.
That is terrible. In a real haunted.
Yeah, give me a week in the forest.
Am I by myself?
Yeah,
or
you're by
both of these
yourself.
ventures? They're both haunted houses. Then. So I'm gonna choose the haunted house.
Oh, you are crazy.
I'm covered by Jesus. I'm covered.
You're gonna have
Covered.
like nightmares for the rest of your. I guess you would either way though.
Either way.
I mean, a week in the forest.
A week? Like, that's too long. One
Yeah.
night. That's it.
Okay.
Wait, what would you choose? Oh,
Oh man, give me a month in the
What was I?
forest.
What was I even saying? What was I
Like
saying?
a year.
All right, this is my last one. Okay, would you rather produce rhymes for the rest of your life? Like, that's the only way you speak. You either speak in rhymes for the rest of your life, or you speak in riddles for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Just imagine.
So I hate riddles.
Oh, okay.
We've never talked
This
about
is
this
a fun
before,
fact.
but I really despise riddles.
You hate them.
I see riddles as math, and I hate math. If it's something where I've got to like figure out a formula, I hate.
But
riddles.
you're the one saying it. Like, you speak this way.
No, listen.
this is
Speaking
how-
in rhymes would be cool. It'd be like, what's the guy from?
Be like Lin talking
Lin-Manuel?
about it all the time.
But what's the guy from Princess Bride? Andre the Giant. He would always speak
But
in
I
like...
wouldn't peanut and mean it.
You know.
That is fantastic.
Okay, what would you do?
Well, that's a fun fact about
What would you do?
I'd be rhyming. all day.
Yeah, rhyming's
all day.
cool.
You would too.
Oh,
You don't want to speak in riddles?
Nah.
Riddle me this
I'm already
right here.
confusing enough the way I talk.
Okay, last one for you. Last
Okay,
one then.
Okay.
Would you rather lose all your friends but keep your BFF, or lose your BFF but keep the rest of
That
your
is
friends?
terrible. Why would you finale that? What is happening?
Oh. So you're gonna either offend your best friend, or you're gonna offend all the rest of your friends.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to lose my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you do?
Oh god.
You don't have a lot of friends, so that's probably easier.
Dig.
Burn.
Lose all your friends but keep your BFF, or lose your BFF. Oh, I don't know. That one's hard.
You have to answer it, because you did this.
I don't
That's
have
the
to-
what. That's
I don't
the.
have to do anything. You're not
That's-
the boss of me.
This is not based on a true story, Sean. Would you rather?
It's hard because I put a face with the BFF
I know.
It's pretty terrible.
versus all the others.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm just gonna let you have answered that one.
Nice. A cop out on
Yeah.
ask challenging questions. Sean will not.
Hey, listen. Sometimes challenging questions are better deflected than answered.
Please edit that out.
Okay, so we are talking about challenging questions.
You're
By the way,
you're
I'm
really
not
you're
answering
really
it.
not answering
I'm
it.
gonna
Addie.
think about that the whole rest of the day.
Addie.
What?
just throw it out there.
Just
Yeah.
throw it out there.
Yeah.
Well, again, like, so what if you're married and your BFF is your spouse, then you're saying no more spouse.
Well, you decided that, so.
But-
if that's your truth, then you might have to say the inverse, then, Sean. Then you lose all your friends.
I
You
mean,
keep your wife.
if it's
Keep your
that,
wife.
because some people have, Addie's giving me like all the sad face. Because some people they're like, well, I have my spouse and then I have my BFF,
Yes.
and then some people are like, no, my
Okay,
BFF
but we're
is my
talking
spouse.
about you, so. What do
Okay,
you
then
say?
I'll say
This got real.
Addie's my spouse,
Okay.
and so I will.
Who's your BFF?
I think I would go the other way. I don't know.
Sean, what?
I have kids too. Like, how do I do this? It's too much. Addie's saying time. We're done. We gotta move on.
Answer.
Sean,
Okay,
too
so-
far in this hypothetical.
Those of you listening, watching, send us your favorite. Try to keep the gross ones out. Leave those for Wyatt. There are really
You don't need it.
Keep them
we
clean.
get those from our 12-year-old. Keep those.
Don't need it.
Yeah. But let's talk about this. Like,
Okay.
when it comes to asking challenging questions,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, the reason we do Black and White TV is we also have talked in weeks and months past that so many of the topics that are destroying us as a country, subject matters where we're dividing ourselves, there are opportunities for uniting within those topics, which is why we have these principles. If we could all relearn how to listen, learn, lean into other people, if we could put these principles in action, then you really can come into any conversation, any difficult subject matter, and come into that with a different posture and a different willingness to learn and hear from others. But when it comes to asking challenging questions, what would you say? How do you do that, Jay? I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah, I think there's several things to even think about, like what does stop us from asking challenging questions. And I would say for me personally, what would stop me from asking a challenging question, some of it is that I don't want to be embarrassed, so pride, my ego. If I've been hurt in the past for asking a challenging question and it didn't land well, or it hurt somebody, or whatever the case is, then I might be less inclined. The other part is that I might change from asking a challenging question. Like, maybe I don't want to know the answer to this. You know what I mean? Like, where does the meat come from? You know what I mean? Because there's people
Are you
who
talking
say
about the
stuff.
Taco Bell meat?
I'm talking about there's a lot of meats out there that you just don't want to know where it comes from.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean? Like, there's just things where it's like, if I ask this question and the answer is this or isn't this, that can change everything. So that's some of the in there. I'm sure there's other things in there too that can be. It's challenging to ask a challenging question because it's vulnerable. It's exposing, which is part of vulnerability, right? So yeah. What was your question?
Yeah, no, I think that's really well described. I mean, I think a lot of times, unfortunately, as a culture, and this has been happening for a long time. This isn't just COVID or 2020, but many of us would agree that our culture in general is very individualistic, which leads to a lot of self-centeredness and a lot of apathy, those type of things. Even technology, while it has many strengths, one of its downsides is it's easy to check out, create a bubble around you, sort of disappear.
Right. Or anonymously say things.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think with all of that said, I fear sometimes for me personally, but also looking around, that part of the reasons we don't ask challenging questions is because we've gotten to a place where we just don't care.
That's fair. Yeah.
Sure. It's like,
yeah,
I don't really care what your opinion is.
Yeah.
I really just care about what my opinion is.
Right.
And so I'm not going to ask you because I don't really want to hear it.
There's the I don't care, and there's I already know what you're going to say.
Right.
So I don't need to hear it. So you can have that and the in-betweens. And then there's a part where you ask a challenging question because you do want to know the answer, even if the answer might hurt,
right,
or be uncomfortable to engage in, right? That lean in part. So I would say, and is this our story time?
Sure, let's hear it.
Story time. Okay, so when I was much younger, high school, going into college, I had decided in my head, don't know exactly where I got this from. There's some things that I can put together that whatever. But I had deduced that I would not be friends with a gay female. I just was like, that's just not going to happen. And I decided that because I said to myself that we had nothing in common. I could be friends with a gay male, but not a gay female. And that was just like a thing that I said to myself in my head and my heart. And freshman...
Why did you differentiate between the guy and the girl?
I decided... You
just decided.
That the gay male I have more in common with.
Right.
Decided.
Okay.
You want me to get me to say something.
No, I actually don't know.
No?
No, I'm just curious.
Oh, well, I decided that that they would be more butch.
Okay.
And so I was like, that's just not, we're just not going to think similarly,
right.
Therefore, whatever. Which is stupid. But
basically, because you, like every human being does this, you already had some stereotypes.
Right, yeah. From my experiences, but from a distance. Again, I didn't have any like close relationships with anyone who was a gay female. Like I saw gay females like from a distance in my high school time. And so I just decided this. So then freshman year of college, I had this really cool friend group that like we were immediately like connected. Me and this one young lady were like super close. And somewhere like, a few months into our friendship, she was like, hey, I want to let you know about my sexuality. And so she shared with me that she was gay. And I was like, and she was afraid to share it because she was like, not sure how you're going to handle this. And like, will you not be my friend anymore? Which was also sad for that to even be a thing. But I was already like locked in. Like I was like, we're so similar. Like I was like, she's like me. And so it blew my mind. And then I had to question everything, which was like, where did I get that from? And I was gonna like carry this out. You know what I mean? Like it was beautiful for me to have that experience, because had I like overtly did something to make it be that I would never be friends with a gay female, I would have missed out on such a rich friendship with her. And so it started just busting other myths that I was like creating in my head, in my heart, that I didn't even realize I was creating. Like, I just was like, oh, I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think we would have 8, but turned out we have a ton. And so it was just, yeah. And it happened other times too, where I didn't realize I had said something in my head. Again, I don't like talk about this with other people. It was just like in my head, I'm like, this is a thing that will just never take place. Or this is a group that I don't have anything and we don't connect. But that's not true, you know? And so one of the things that I think changed us a lot is like education and relationships. And that was a relationship that changed everything, but had me start to ask myself challenging questions. So,
yeah, wow, that's huge. I mean, because you're basically saying, like, when it comes to this whole topic of asking challenging questions, yes, there is a part of it, which is how to ask other people good questions, good challenging questions. But you're also basically pointing out that first and foremost, maybe a thing that we often miss is asking ourselves a challenging question.
Right.
And so maybe, I guess what you're saying is like you had jumped over digging into the why of like, why do I feel that way? And you just kind of, and then you almost missed an amazing friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were sharing with me that the other day, I was thinking about how it seems like all of us, when we're growing up, we all are modeled from somebody else or taught from somebody else, or we pick up cues from others, or maybe sometimes we're just like blatantly told not to like this type of person. We all have that in our background.
Right.
And it seems like one of the things that happens is every culture, every type of political ideology, or every type of faith system, they all have extremes, right? And I used to really get upset as a Christian that like, why are these Christians so hateful? But then I realized, like, you could say that about those who are Islamic. There are those extremists who come off as hateful. When I went to visit and do some work in Sri Lanka, it's mostly Buddhist. And you actually come to find out there's very violent Buddhists. And I'm like, what? Like, I didn't think you could be violent. I thought that was a contradiction. Like, to be Buddhist is to be nonviolent. And
it's a contradiction for a lot of faiths.
But what you find out, it's just like in Christianity or in any of these faith systems, it's like you actually begin out of your own self-righteousness. You quit asking questions, and you basically start judging and creating this idea of who other people are, rather than building relationships and coming to know them. Like I told you, when Emerson, my daughter, she was a freshman in high school, and it kind of connects to your story, where she went to audition for a theater play, and I picked her up, and we were driving home, and I asked her, what's the name of what are you auditioning for? And she said, it's called the Laramie Project. It's like, I've never heard of it. And she's like, yeah, basically it's based on a true story. It took place in Laramie, Wyoming, and it's the story of this young man who, he was old enough to get into a bar. I don't know if he was old enough to drink. So he was between 18 and 21, 22, young. And while he was there, he was gay. These other two guys noticed and picked up on that he was gay, and they were homophobic. They invited him to go for a ride with them in the pickup truck. They ended up beating him, taking him way out into the middle of nowhere, tying him to like a fence post, and by chance the next day or next couple days, at some point, a mountain bike rider just happened to find this young man and called the ambulance. He went to the hospital, and Emerson's explaining this to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never heard this story. This is crazy.
Me either.
And then she said, and then she got to the point in the story where she started crying as she's saying it to me, and she's like, yeah, then there's these news like articles, and you can see video of old news, like like local channel news, where there were people protesting outside of the hospital. I think the guy's name was Matthew, where he was basically being treated. He eventually died. And people were protesting, and she's like, my daughter's literally like weeping. She can hardly talk. She's crying so hard. And I'm driving. I'm like, what is going on? And she's like, Dad, so many of the people that were outside of the hospital, they were claiming to be Christians, holding up signs that said, God hates fags, Matthew's going to hell, like all these kinds of things. And she's like, I just don't understand how anybody could do that to somebody else, and especially for her as a Christian as well. And we parked the car. I mean, we're both crying, and it really caused me to like look inward first. Like you're talking about just like, gosh, where have I screwed up in this and fallen short, and I have these predispositions, stereotypes, biases, and I need to like ask myself harder questions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's oof. Yeah, it's disturbing, it's disgusting, and it's sad because we're associated with that people group. Right? We are Christians, and it's a norm to hear that, like in someone's story who's a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Hearing that they've been hurt by Christians is normal.
Right.
And then, just thinking about, like, for myself, like what I said, I mean, mine wasn't like, I didn't dislike all gay people, but it was still like, I was categorizing, and, just to think about like, what's the goal here? Like, what are we doing? And if the answer is that of like, you're supposed to love your God and love people, how do you do that? You can start with asking questions. Ask yourself first, like, what is this? Like, if you have any people group that you're like, I feel a way towards these people, whether you're super aware or not, there's somebody or there's something where you have like responses towards people that you don't know. And so it's like, what can you do to walk through that? Because this is for people who are like, I want to be a uniter, right? Like that's what we're doing here. So if you want to be a uniter, you will ask yourself challenging questions, and you can ask other people challenging questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what is your experience? What's your story? Find out like people's hearts. Like it creates in us more empathy. It creates in us more of that unity. It creates in us richer experiences because we can have relationship with people that we never thought we could, And so that's a part of the beauty of walking through the challenge of asking these kind of questions.
Absolutely. Well, and I think when we go into these workshops with students, what we're challenging them as uniters to consider is, with each of these 6 principles, first you have to look at your heart. So we focus on the heart, we focus on the hands, kind of the doing part of being uniting, and then the hope aspect of being a uniter. But the heart is what's so critical. But it's so often we want to skip over that part. It's the hardest part, because looking inward and asking yourself hard questions is so hard. You're really like, let me just get to the doing. Let me do some good stuff. Let me help somebody.
I'll go unite people.
But it really starts with pause, take a breath, spend some time here, inside, inward with these principles. And so
and I know we only have like 2 seconds left, but something that we do talk about during this particular part of the workshop is confirmation bias. And I would say for myself, something I can reflect on is that so once I kind of created this narrative that I will only be then I found ways to confirm my bias. So if I saw a young lady who identified as lesbian or something like that, and I saw our differences, I would look for that, you know what I mean? And so then it would confirm, like, oh yeah, see, I have nothing in common with them. I would never kick a ball, I don't know, whatever, right? Like, and again, it's kind of silly, but that's what we do. We just confirm, and you keep confirming. You hang out with people who kind of confirm it, these biases that we have, and it's dangerous to stay there.
Right.
It's dangerous if you keep going down this like path of like, I can only associate with, I can only talk to, I only believe, I only, and there's no room for like, but what if
Right.
there's something more? And what if there's something else? You know? So that's my...
No, that's huge. And again, like you said, with being a uniter, there's no chance that this country is going to see something different if we only surround ourselves with people who will answer the questions the way we would answer the question.
Right.
If we continue to take people groups, like now, man, I have some of the best friends who are Buddhist, who are Hindu, who are Muslim, who are homosexual, and I would hope they would say that about me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
it's not just me kind of in my like high horse saying like, oh, look at the friends I get to have. It's
Right.
I'm honored they would call me a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a Christian, I know they have a lot of reasons
Yeah.
to not want to hang out with me
Right.
if they just label me as a Christian who, in a way that they see in the
Yeah.
news. So it's not
Or
just
white
like,
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so it's not just, it goes both ways. We
Yeah.
have to realize all the stereotypes that we have against others, they have reasons to have them for us too.
Mhm.
It goes both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Awesome.
that.
Well, that was fun.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
What a transition.
Yeah. And
No, but truly, we always want to invite you to seriously listen, seriously learn, and seriously lean in to opposition. That's how we move forward.
yeah, and see what will happen in our country. See what will happen at your school or at your workplace or under the roof that you live, but especially see what will happen to yourself. That's where the real stuff happens.
Legit.
All right,
Thank
see
you
next
so
week.
much for joining us. Bye.